Okay, a bunch of you sent me this article from CBR here about a female-led Plastic Man film being in development. I'm going to tell you what's going on here, and I'm going to tell you a bunch of ways in which this can be an absolute catastrophe, but one way in which it could actually be pretty great. Follow me. Hello. If you're enjoying this content, hit that subscribe button. Join us. All right, everybody. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I'm Ethan Van Sciver, 27-year veteran of the comic book industry. 20 of those years were spent at DC Comics working on a Plastic Man story. DC Comics liked my idea, my concept for Plastic Man so much that they basically put the character on hold for me for literally a decade while I worked on other projects. And I was supposed to be developing Plastic Man, but they kept throwing me more juicy, interesting things to do, like Batman and Green Lantern, and I never really got around to finishing Plastic Man. But I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to comment on this situation here and tell you what I know about Plastic Man and a little bit about what's probably going on with this situation here. From CBR, DC's Plastic Man film changes screenwriter, will have a female lead. Now, right away, we're led to believe that it's going to be Plastic Woman, and that is possible. That's very possible. But let's read on. DC's planned Plastic Man movie has added screenwriter Cat Vasco. Cat Vasco, very interesting, with the project now being described as a female leading vehicle. And again, it doesn't specifically come out here and say that Plastic Man is going to be a female in this, but you never really know. All right, so the planned film based on DC Comics' Plastic Man has found a new screenwriter, with the project now being described as a female leading vehicle. Per The Hollywood Reporter, screenwriter Cat Vasco. Cat Vasco, very interesting. Cat Vasco has written a ton of screenplays, none of which have officially been produced as movies yet. But Cat Vasco was on the blacklist for a long time. The blacklist isn't what it sounds like. The blacklist is a kind of survey that's sent out to producers and directors and people in the know in Hollywood. They've all read all of the screenplays that are circulating around, and they ask you, what are your favorite screenplays that you've read that have yet to be produced? And the ones that come back repeatedly get on a list called the blacklist. These are blacklisted screenplays. It's kind of a joke title for this survey. Cat Vasco had a screenplay on the blacklist that was called Situation Comedy. And Situation Comedy was a little bit like The Truman Show meets Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, in which a woman who's bored with her life walks out, finds a little kind of portal in a meadow. She walks through it, and suddenly she is the star of a sitcom. Her real life becomes a sitcom. And so this screenplay bounced around for a little while. I guess it hasn't been produced yet, but it did acquire all kinds of interest. So she has some buzz in Hollywood. And I looked at her IMDb page, and right now, I mean, she's got, let me see if it's still here. I might have, okay, here it is. Cat Vasco has a bunch of stuff you can see that are currently in production. None of these things have come out yet, except for one thing, this Girl Scouts short film, 15 minutes. She co-wrote this with 4 other people, and this is kind of from a Jim Mahfood comic book. So this is just a 15-minute short film that she co-wrote. And from there, look at this. Queen of the Air, Life After Life. Let me see. All right. Consume. I don't know what that is, but this is interesting at the top. Lady Death. Is Lady Death the Brian Pulido comic? It seems like she's involved in the comic book world of pop culture. So it's quite possible that she's also writing the Lady Death movie for Brian Pulido. I hope that's the case. But we don't know very much about Cat Vasco beyond that. We don't know, I don't know what her politics are. I don't know if she's an SJW or if this movie is going to be profoundly feminist or anything like that. Who really knows? Her movies do tend to have a kind of female interest to them. But, again, we don't know until we know. So she's been tapped to pen the Plastic Man movie for DC. 2 years ago, in December of 2018, it was reported that a Plastic Man film described as a comedic action adventure was in the works from screenwriter Amanda Idako. I'm not sure who that is. With Warner Brothers confirming the news several days later. Now, none of this, again, I want to emphasize, none of this means anything. Warner Brothers always has screenplays being written. They're always kind of getting halfway into production, or into, not even into production, into development with projects based on all of their characters. And, I used to know that Jeff Johns was like working on a Metal Men movie, a Flash movie. He was working on all of this stuff that was never going to get produced. It just seems like Hollywood has an infinite budget for soliciting screenplays, hiring people to write screenplays for any of their IPs. So that could be what's going on here. I mean, clearly that's what happened to Amanda Idako. Her film is not going to happen now. If any film does happen from here, it looks like we've got Vasco, Cat Vasco's film. With Vasco now taking over, the project looks to be going in a new direction. According to the Hollywood Reporter's sources, the Plastic Man movie is in the earliest stages of development and will now become a female leading vehicle. Boy, it's really, really frightening. You don't want to think that the Plastic Man movie is going to become social justice or feminist. It's going to be another kind of kick in the eye to fans of Plastic Man. You hope it's not going to be that, but still, let's check out what the rest of this thing. And at this time, it's unclear which character or characters will share top billing with the eponymous hero. Now, this is the line here that gives me hope. Furthermore, it is unknown if this shift in focus will result in a title change for the film. That's right. So, in other words, is this movie going to be about a female character with Plastic Man? And that is my hope. Or is it going to be Plastic Woman all of a sudden? Or is it going to stay Plastic Man, but Plastic Man becomes a woman? And in the most dreadful of all possibilities for this film, is this going to be a metaphor for trans issues? Is Plastic Man going to become a woman, or is a woman going to become Plastic Man? Get the Plastic Man powers and become Plastic Man. That would be that would make the worst, most annoying movie possible. And I'm not saying that they wouldn't do that. In fact, that does seem kind of likely and plausible, that they would actually do something as annoying as that. Now, for those who don't know the origin of Plastic Man, it's pretty cool. Plastic Man was a gangster named E.L. O'Brien, and he first appeared in Police Comics #1, created by Jack Cole, who is my idol. Jack Cole is the Kurt Cobain of comic book artists, okay? He was, a genius. He worked by himself. Everyone around him was kind of impressed by his wit, and unfortunately, he took his own life in 1955. After getting a job with Playboy magazine doing cartoons. Nobody knows why Jack Cole took his life so young, his own life, but it's a mystery. Actually, a few people do know. Will Eisner knew, and Stan Lee knew. And I had an opportunity to ask Will Eisner about Jack Cole. I met him once in the 90s. He's deceased now. And I was so starstruck by him that I didn't get to ask him anything about my hero, Jack Cole. I did ask Stan Lee, and Stan Lee said he didn't remember. So I was really bummed out by that. He did know Jack Cole, but he didn't want to tell me anything about, what he may have been going through in the 1950s. So that mystery, and now Stan Lee is gone, that mystery is buried with them, unfortunately. Okay, so first published in Quality Comics. A criminal turned superhero. This is what's so great about it. Patrick, E.L. O'Brien, is a gangster. He's an Irish gangster who, during a heist in a chemical liquid factory. I don't know why they're trying to steal chemical liquid all the time at DC Comics. It is very strange. He gets it splashed all over him. He's left for dead, but he gets powers because of this special acid. And he wakes up, it looks like a Catholic priest or a monk has taken him in, healed him, and taught him about God. And Plastic Man turns his life around. He calls himself Plastic Man now. He turns his life around, goes to work for the FBI, attacking the very mobsters that he used to pull heists with. And it's a really cool story. Now, it was a cartoony, funny story in the 1940s, but you can see already, just by the brief description, the synopsis that I gave you, how it could be tweaked a little bit here and there to make something that is current, modern, superhero mob movie crossover that would be really, really, really fun. And that's kind of what I'm hoping. Now, my hope would be if I could talk to Kat Vasco for a second and say, if this movie is female-led, that's kind of a good idea, because we don't want to know too much about who Plastic Man actually is or who Eel O'Brien is. We want that mystery. We want to be 1 degree separated from Plastic Man in my movie idea. We don't want to know if he's really still a gangster at heart, or if he has turned his life over truly and is actually a superhero who still pretends to be a gangster in his alter ego in order to infiltrate the mob and give information to the FBI, and then he can fight whoever he needs to fight as Plastic Man. Now, if this is the case, we want to be Plastic Man's best friend, or we want this movie to be from the standpoint of his girlfriend from the cartoon. Now, this is my idea for making this movie totally awesome. And right now, with The Mandalorian, you are seeing how successful they are being over there at Disney by taking elements from the animated series and bringing it into reality, bringing it into live action, and people love it. Now, in the Plastic Man cartoon, Plastic Man had a girlfriend, kind of. Plastic Man, like all of these cartoons, men are not interested in women. She wanted to be Plastic Man's girlfriend or wife, and Plastic Man was too busy being a clown. But this is Penny, and Penny was the female love interest in the Plastic Man cartoon, the animated series of the 1970s and early 80s. Now, I would suggest, let's look at this description. Penny is a Southern belle who was attracted to Plastic Man and stuck beside him during his adventures, trying to get romantic with him, though he usually ignores her advances. Eventually, she married him, and they had a son through him named Baby Plas. I don't know why you would name your kid Baby Plas, but this is actually a pretty cool idea. Like, you could do kind of like Goodfellas, from the standpoint of the wife of a gangster who has become a superhero, and how strange that life is. Do we trust him? Who is he really? Like, I'm not sure that I know, who this person that I married is anymore. It would be really, really, really good. And if you wanted to make a serious Plastic Man movie, that was actually, you could make it funny too, but if you wanted to make a good Plastic Man movie that was actually true to everything that came before, this is what I would recommend to Kat Vasco. Write it from Penny's point of view. And if you want to put some feminist nonsense in there about how turns out I don't need no man because Plastic Man's a pain in the ass, I'll stomach it. I'll tolerate it. But this would be the best thing to do. Now, the absolute worst thing to do, like I said, would be to take Plastic Man and have some kind of gender dysphoria issue, or some kind of like, oh, he can easily shift between male and female. Gail Simone tried that once and was pilloried for it. In her new Plastic Man series, she actually had Plastic Man become a woman, but kept his manly bulge, and the trans people were pissed at her for it, were absolutely furious, and she had to go on an apology tour. So I would be careful with that. Let me just say that I discourage you from doing that as much as possible, Kat Vasco. So I'm going to stay optimistic about this because I'm such a big Plastic Man fan. And I really would like a good Plastic Man movie to happen. I don't think it is, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think this movie, even as being developed right now, I don't think this movie is ever going to see the light of day. But this to me, pretty interesting idea if they go my way. Let me know if you agree with me. Write comments below. Tell me your ideas. Tell me if you have an even better idea for this, or if you like my idea. And please hit like. And what you could really do to really help this channel is please subscribe to the channel. You guys are subscribing. So many new subscribers are coming on board, and I really appreciate you. And ring the bell for notifications. The channel is growing. We're fighting the deliberate suppression of YouTube and their algorithm, which wants to just stifle channels with messages like mine. Let's not let them do that. Also, consider backing my two comics. This is right here would be, if it ever comes up. I'm triggered. It's white. Oh, okay. Here it is. Cyberfrog 2 Wrecked Planet. This is my current comic book. We're actually so successful. We've actually made more than $1.1 million on this Indiegogo campaign, we were able to make toys of Cyberfrog and Salamandroid, and you could buy those here for just $35 for the set, or you could just back the comic book and receive a free Cyberfrog PVC toy. So for the $25 tier for the comic book, you're going to actually get a free Cyberfrog toy and a bunch of other stuff too. Extra comics, a keychain, all kinds of stuff because this campaign was so successful. My new campaign is called, again, Triggered White Screen. Oh, good, some color. We needed some color here. This is the ultimate person of color, Rainbow the Brute. He is a fairy tale. This is a fairy tale satire for real men. I'm going to put the ad for this in the description. No, I'm going to put the ad for this after I'm finished talking here. But the links are going to be in the description. So if you want to back either of these campaigns for good comics without an agenda, that would be terrific. Love you all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon with another video. New from All Caps Comics, Rainbow the Brute, the last real man in fairyland. A tale of prismatic pain, a spectrum of brutality, and a pretty good dad. Choke slam a unicorn by backing it today, only on Indiegogo. Hey, you want to follow me on Twitter? Are you sure? Well, if so, I'm at Ethan Van Sciver. That's at Ethan Van Sciver. See you there. Hey, I got a P.O. box. Want to send me some mail? Send it to Ethan Van Sciver, P.O. Box 607, Marlton, New Jersey, 08053. And I'll probably open it up on the live stream. Thanks very much, everyone.